So your mind is a fluid. Your mind is the cloud. The same way we see the sky up there, we are inside of a being. As within, so without. We are a universe, and there's spirits inside of us. And and you're the oversoul of the being you are. And we live inside of a being that looks just like us, but it's going to look different, obviously, through its own lens and perspective of how it's operating its reality, through that awareness, which is way higher than us. And we are playing out as the blood cells, as I would say, more advanced blood cells, the same way we have cells inside of us. In that reality, it's going to be totally different how we see it, how we see ourselves in this reality, and how we operate things. So this is where smaller dimensions, like blood cells, sperm cells, and shit like that, develop. But we are doing these things as within. So your mind is the fluid. Your mind is how we create things, and how we make things into density with our emotions, which is our vibe, our vibrations. So when we have an idea, that's a spark, that's fire. Fire is a spark, a vision, an idea, the first spark, the first concept. And then we put logic behind it, which is air. Air is scattered, air is all over the place, air is train of thoughts, thinking. That's what air is before it becomes the actual air that we see in this physical reality. So, and when we have those thoughts, we begin to, sometimes have imaginations, creativity behind those thoughts. We like to imagine a lot of shit. This deals with the subconscious realm. This is water, the fluid, being very fluid with your creativity and your imaginations. And then we have the ability to ground our ideas, our visions, our imaginations, which would be the earth. So this is like squaring out your thoughts, squaring out your ideas, making it make sense in your head, so it can be brought into this world. And being practical with your ideas. Being practical with your ideas is the earth element. And this is how it's being accumulated down here. So everything is a condensing mechanism. Your mind is your world. You are the mind. You are the spirit, but the spirit created the mind, and that's the closest thing as a body before becoming physical. So you are the subconscious mind. You're not the body. The body is after the fact. So however you operate in your mind, and what you allow in your space, which is your spirit, because your mind is not your spirit. Once your mind expires, that it expires. But depending on how you navigate in your reality, how you navigate in your mind, you are picking up those subconscious traits, and you're allowing those traits within your space, which is your spirit. Your spirit is no shape or form. That's why it has to develop a mind and accumulate into physicality. So the spirit is no shape or form. It's literally no thing. But it's still something in that reality. We just can't perceive it as something that's tangible. So it's non-corporeal. But you have to have in mind that just because it's non-corporeal, not of this world, physical world, it is still something. So Yeah. So your mind plays out like the weather system. Your mind is how we astral travel, how we create, how we bring things into this physical world. And you can see that every day through, people around us, how society is built, all the way, down to the colonizers taking over this land and implementing their own religion, their own ideas and concepts, their own visions, their own philosophical point of views and shit like that. So this is their idea. This is their whoever is in control of the system. It's their idea. It's their limitations. It's their concept. It's how far they went, and they built this system. But you have your own power to go about it. You have your own power to branch off and create your own shit. You don't have to attach yourself to systematical programs that's limiting your spirit, because that's not the whole point of who you truly are. Even though you like to stay within the program because you might be too comfortable and you made it too far to turn back or have a change of heart or change your perspective. But at the end of the day, you're a spirit, and your spirit is always going to evolve and expand and contract and keep evolving. See, when you die, when you pass on, we're always going to come back here and experience some type of reality. And that's a hard pill to swallow with some people who are religious, or with other some type of belief or bias. But there's only one truth. The same way you got here is the same way we're all going, and the cycle continues. But the whole point is to find our true individuality and find out what's really going on. You cannot, ignore the truth just because you might be scared of, what you might find out. But what if I tell you the truth is something that you wish you wanted to find out from the beginning? You just didn't know. Or maybe you thought it's something that's impossible to find out. But that's totally up to you. If you believe that, then that will be your reality. So belief has to do with imaginations, the water fluid, Neptune, the planet Neptune, but I'm not going to get into astrology right now. So we all have imaginations and how we perceive reality, but that's just an ability that we have. But we're all in this together. The same way we got here, the same way we're gonna, pass on and keep the cycle going. But you need to understand this is how evolution works. We are creating the world like Little Big Planet. If you ever play that shit for PlayStation, this reality is like Little Big Planet. You add on onto this planet Earth, which is just another being. We live inside of it, and that's what God really is. But I don't like saying the word God, because there's different levels of what people think God is, but it's just as within so without mechanism. So it's like we have beings inside of us. We are a being inside of a being, and that being is inside of a being. But it's a condensing mechanism. Everything came from the spirit, which is no thing. That spirit developed the mind and intelligence, and that intelligence developed chakra wheels. What astrologers like to say planets, but these are just chakras, like wheels. And this is how we develop, the ability to be conscious and bring ourselves into reality. Now we have the ability to, connect and feel, which is the moon. The ability to have to be conscious and bring ourselves into the light is the sun. the ability to connect and be internal is the moon. Now, we have the ability to think and communicate, which is Mercury. We have the ability to show compassion and love, and compromise and all these things, which is Venus. We have the ability to take action, have willpower, aggression, sexual urges. Do you see where I'm getting at with this? These are things that we had to develop as smaller species. As when God was beginning, it developed these things. And now we live inside of it, and we're going through the sexual reproduction. So we are already in it, but we had to start obviously from the bottom of the food. I hate saying food chain, but whatever. As smaller spirits, lesser spirits, and we're making our way up and expanding as spirits. So Mars is your willpower, motivations, your intent, your actions, and how you go day to day with your desires and passions. Waking up every day, going to work, working on your craft, making sure shit is done. So that's what it is. And now we have Jupiter, the ability to expand our awareness, our knowledge, our wisdom, our philosophy on things. See, we're always expanding our wisdom and knowledge. This is how we learn. This deals with Sagittarius. Mental travels. See, we're mentally traveling as we go by. As we go, growing up, and through the years we learn different things, and we never stay the same person every year, unless you're lazy and reprobate. But even then, you have to learn something, at least a little bit, a new perspective. So that deals with expansion and and gaining new wisdom of something. And then we have Saturn, which is it's like Saturn is like constructing our reality, like making it carve and shape the form of how we go to day to day and construct our reality. And as a collective, Saturn is how we created society, the system, the boundaries, the limitations, the obstacles that we had to go through, and and it's how we made it how it is right now. The whole world, the reality, cities, building the maps, the roads, cars, shit like that. That's our structured boundaries and limitations of how we made it out to be. So, and then we have Uranus, which is being original, unique, coming out with different ways of how to invent shit. And it also deals with rebellion, because when you invent something new, you don't stick to the outdated shit. You want to stick to the new shit, but also try to pick up what you previously did with the old shit and apply it to the new shit. So we're always evolving. And then we have Neptune, which is the imaginations, the creativity, it deals with art, music. It's just being creative, using your imaginations. That's what it is. And then we have Pluto, which is transforming something, a situation, anything, an idea, the way you think, the way you move, operate. Maybe you don't want to work at a certain place anymore and you want to change that aspect of self. But it deals with a lot of things in your reality and the whole totality of reality. But yeah, so your mind is who you truly are. Your mind is the astrology. Your mind is the fluid, and however you shape your fluid, your mind, is how you will conduct yourself in this physical reality. So if you pay attention to, a lot of bullshit, a lot of nonsense, these are the subconscious traits that you're picking up to build your mental fluid, to make a character out of yourself. And that condenses down here into your physical fluid. And it plays out through the characters and the persona, and people can see that from you. So is this some deep spiritual shit? Like, y'all need to understand this, because a lot of people don't, and the people get confused. And once you get confused, you don't know thyself, and people end up retarded. People start hurting each other, shooting each other, calling each other retarded, but 9 times out of 10 they're both retarded. But yeah, I guess I'll just leave it at that. Peace.